welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. So today I decided to do a Sharpie video. I've always wanted to try drawing or doing something with Sharpie because I know it's very easy to do art with alcohol markers, but I have always just been interested in seeing what I could do with Sharpie. So I decided to, or rather permanent markers, because technically, while I am calling the video Sharpie art or whatever I decide to call it, it is only half true because the thicker tip, they're going to be like Amazon brand alcohol, permanent markers, whereas the thin tip ones will be Sharpie brand. So technically it will be permanent marker art video, but I will be calling it like Sharpie. So I've always been interested in making art with that kind of medium because I know it's really hard to kind of blend with that, and I'm not a very good artist. I'm very new to it, and I just wanted to see what I could do with it. So I decided first I would start with swatches. I got all my markers, and I know for a fact that I bought Sharpies, so you know, the thicker tipped ones. So the reason I got the Amazon brand ones is because I could not find my Sharpies anywhere, like the right size, the thicker tipped ones. I couldn't find them anywhere. So I have a feeling that somewhere in my move I must have accidentally either thrown them out or left them behind, or something must have happened in my move, because I bought them 2 moves ago. So I've been planning to have this channel for a while now. It just took a lot of courage and a lot of talking to myself and trying to convince myself to get up and do it. So I bought the art supplies 2 moves ago. So that's maybe what, 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, somewhere along that line, maybe sooner than that. And so somewhere along the way I misplaced the Sharpies. So I made a schedule for myself of videos that I wanted to make, and along the schedule I had Sharpie videos. So I started to get the items that I needed ready, and in my art supplies I just could not find the Sharpies, and I knew I had it because I remember specifically the brain wave that I had for the idea was I lived in Calgary at the time, and I saw there was like Sharpie had a box set of all the Sharpie colors you could buy. So they had the fine point ones, so that, you know, the little fine point ones that I'm going to be using in this video, and the thicker tip ones. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, that is so weird. Anytime I've ever seen Sharpie, they've only ever been black Sharpies. So, you know, like and even the thin tip ones, like the very thin tipped ones, that was so unusual. So I remember I was in the Walmart with some friends, and we were just walking around, and I was just so shocked to see it. So I remember just buying them just because I didn't even have a plan for it, and I moved with them. I'm so sure that I moved with them. Then I had the idea for the video when I decided I wanted to make the YouTube channel, and I was like, I have Sharpies. So I have all these Sharpies. They're all different color permanent markers, so I can make some kind of art with that. And that's why I knew that I had them, but when it came time to make the video, I just couldn't find them. So I had already made the schedule, so I had to run around and just go and find Sharpies, because when I have the idea, I want to do it, because I got so excited about the whole idea of making this art piece. So I went onto Amazon and I saw that they had a nice variety there too. I couldn't find Sharpie version, but they did have the Amazon version, so I decided to go with that. So what I did was I started off with swatches. Now, this video, so I have different days off in the week. I work 4 days in the week, and I have 3 days off. 1 day off is for me, where I just do nothing. It's my relax, recharge mental day. And 2 days where I work on this, plus of course my 4 days that I work. When I come home, I work on this as well. And the 1 day that one of the days, so the 2 days that I work on the YouTube channel, the 2 days I have off that I work on the YouTube channel, I try to use it for filming and video recording, voice recording, and that kind of stuff. So my plan was, the plan for the day was that I would record 2 videos. One would be the Sharpie video, and one would be the video that comes after that. But what ended up happening, I thought it would be like a very fast video. I had this idea that I would just do the thing and paint the thing, and then I would be done. That was my idea. But what ended up happening was that I guess I had a step-by-step idea of what I wanted to do, which was swatches, then a thumbnail sketch, then paint the thumbnail sketch, then do the actual sketch, and do the painting, and blah blah blah. But it took all day. So first things first. So my camera is, I think I've mentioned this many times. My camera is a cheap camera. It's all I could afford at the time, and still all that I can afford, and it does the job. So I don't hate it. It does what it's supposed to do. So I'm using this one single camera. I only have the one battery. The battery has a short shelf life, or a short charge life. So while I'm doing, I wanted to record everything because I'm still new to video recording, and I'm still new to like making things, like the whole recording process. So I'm not sure what I'll need and what I won't need. So I decided that to be safe, I would record the entire process, and then I can just cut whatever I don't need. So I ended up spending the whole day recording because it takes so much time. Like I said, at first I wanted to take a bigger piece of paper, but then I decided to take a piece of paper that was half the size of the one that I originally wanted, and still it took me so long. So the paper that you see me using in the video, that's half the size of the one that I originally wanted to use, and still it took me so long to get it done. So I started with the swatches. Basically, I just wanted, so what I was thinking was, I tend to notice that a lot of times when you buy markers, and this is not new to anybody who does art, but it's new to me because I'm new to this whole thing. You will buy a color, and there will be the cap of the pen or the marker or the paint or whatever will be represented by what is supposed to be the color, right? So it shows you, like, let's say it's blue. It will show you a version of blue as the cap, and that's supposed to represent the blue that the product is supposed to be on the inside. But then when you go to use the product, it's not that color. So what I tend to do is, now I learned my lesson because I've ruined other pieces by thinking that the color that it is, especially when you buy it from the dollar store, because I like going to the dollar store because there's always so much art supplies in there. It's just crazy. I don't know how they're able to afford having so much products in there and for such affordable prices. Well, maybe because they make it so cheap, which is why the colors don't match. But anyway, so I tend to now make it a habit to always swatch the colors so that I can know what the color actually is, and I can't trust the cap because even when they try their best, and it's not anyone's fault, it's hard to color match and to be perfect every single time, especially when you're going for cheaper products, and even when you're not going for cheaper products, it's not the easiest thing to do, right? So I start the swatching, of course, is for aesthetic reasons because it looks nice and it's satisfying to like put colors down in a certain order and to see like a kind of a rainbow. But it also helps me to see what the colors look like visually, so that I can say, all right, these are the colors that I want. Because like it was very frustrating for me, because even while I was swatching, some of the caps had a look like a certain color, but then when I put the inks down or the markers down, the color that was on the cap was not the color that came down, which was so disappointing, because I wanted the color that was on the cap and I couldn't find that color anywhere within the spectrum of colors that I had. So it was so disappointing. I would have rather that it was the opposite, where the color that was on the cap was not the color I wanted, but the color that was actually in the marker was the color that I would have liked. But anyway, so I spent a bunch of time just doing the swatches, which was fun. First though, I tried to like do this whole visual thing where I made the markers all like line up across. Like, I don't even know if I kept that in. I probably did or didn't, I'm not sure, because I'm not looking at the video right now. I'm just talking about the whole process, because I actually have 4 hours of video content, and that's after I cut out a whole bunch of stuff, and I still have to cut more out of it, because obviously I can't make a 4-hour long video. That's just crazy. So I'm just gonna try and make the video match with whatever I write or whatever I'm saying. I am looking at a little cue card of things that I want to talk about. I'm just gonna try and do my best to make the video match up with that. If it doesn't, please forgive me. But yeah, I had the colors in a kind of like a color wheel or color line, I guess, because it wasn't in a circle, but like the you know how the color wheel goes from yellow, orange, red, blah blah blah. I tried to make the colors match that way on both sides. So one side was the Amazon brand version and the other side was the Sharpie brand version, doing the same thing. And surprisingly, I found that that was actually so amazing. I don't know if maybe Amazon just copied the Sharpie colors, but every single color that I had, well, basically almost every single color that I had for Sharpie, I had for Amazon. So I had like a very fine tip version of the thicker tip version. So it was actually really cool. I was just like, what? That's so crazy. And the colors almost matched exactly. Almost. They were like so close, they might as well have been partners. It was insane. So after I was finished with the swatches, the next thing I did was on the same paper, I felt like, so I always want to do like a swatch that looks perfect, but I never plan it out properly. You know, like when you watch these videos, they all have like this perfect grid swatches, but I guess I'm just not patient enough to do that. I could always just count it and do the even and like draw the grid and all of that, but I'm just not patient for it. And I always just think things will work out in the end anyway, and it kind of did for me. So what I ended up doing was, because there was so much space left on the paper that had the swatches, I decided to use it to draw thumbnail sketches, because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to act like a real artist, because that's what everyone does, right? Usually I just do things willy-nilly. I just decide, this is what I'm gonna draw, so that's what I'm gonna do. I just go for it. But thumbnail sketches are supposed to help you visualize what the actual art piece is supposed to look like, and it helps you brainstorm. So I decided I would do some thumbnail sketches, and then I realized that actually I want to make a Sharpie video, but I don't know what I want to draw. I went through the whole process of getting the art supplies and getting everything ready, getting the camera charged, like the battery charged, and then I realized that in fact I didn't make a plan on what I was going to draw. So I just tried to quickly brainstorm some ideas. I was thinking maybe I'd draw some flowers. First I thought I'd draw a person, because I have these little doodle characters that I always draw when I'm trying to draw quickly, and you'll probably see them in the next video or the video after this one. I'm gonna do some just like cute little index cards. They're not quite index cards, but they're about the size of index cards, of these little doodle characters, while I talk about some life management things that I have on my mind. But I realized that I didn't know what I wanted to draw, so I thought, let's just draw one of those. But the paper was so big, and the characters that I draw, they're really just doodles, so it doesn't really work. It's okay as a little thumbnail sketch, but I was visualizing it on the paper, and I was just like, it's not gonna work, because it works as a doodle because they're small. But if I drew it bigger, then it would need to have more substance, more detail, and that wouldn't work. So then I thought, okay, let's draw flowers. And I could do flowers, but I always draw flowers. It's kind of like a quick go-to, and I just didn't want to do that anymore, because everybody draws flowers. It's just always flowers, 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 everywhere flowers. And flowers, don't get me wrong, they're beautiful, they're gorgeous, they're pretty, but I just didn't want to draw flowers anymore. So I decided to try something else. And then I thought to myself, why don't I try a planet, space? And I had this visual in my mind of so you know how like a planet, a ringed fantasy planet in space behind a blue and pink and purple black background with some random planets just floating, like tinier planets, and some stars, like smaller stars, like to show distance, floating in the background. And I also wanted to put like a ring around it, just to put that extra fantasy into it. So I thought, okay, let's do that. That would make a good fantasy piece. And so I did the thumbnail sketch for that, and I liked it. So I went ahead and I did the full drawing for that. But then while I was drawing that, I realized something. That means that I will have to color the whole page, and that was when I realized it would take a long time, because throughout the whole process of doing the swatches and drawing the thumbnail sketch, I had already had to turn off the camera to recharge the battery, and it takes 2 hours to charge the battery. So then I had to draw the sketch and then redraw the sketch again, but this time in marker. So that's another hour and some. Then that means I have to charge the battery again. So that's another 2 hours. Then I have to start using the marker to draw in, like inking the actual drawing. And then for some reason my tripod just didn't want to stay. I've been using this tripod on this table for forever, but I guess for some reason now it just doesn't want to stay on the table anymore. I don't know if I moved it or whatever, but now it's just sliding off the table. At one point it just fell off the table. So I was just like, oh my god, please don't break. This is the only camera I have. Please don't break. And I was just having so many difficulties, and then the battery kept dying, and then after a while I just got so it was looking really nice, like I'm not gonna lie. So I got to a point where I finished the planets, and then I realized that I had to I drew the whole, or like all the little debris around the planet. I had to first line them all up. Then I realized, oh my god, I have to now ink in every single one of those little circles and little dots. That would take forever. So I had to do that like 3 times, because first there was the sketching version, then there was the line art version, then there was the inking version. And then I was like, maybe I should put some shadows, and then I was like, no, it's taking too long. By the time the whole day had already gone by, and there was no way I was going to be able to do the other video that I had planned, which was leaving me very annoyed, because I had so many plans for the day. But I just kept having to start and stop and start and stop, but it was just like, no, that's not the plan. But eventually, finally, I finished. Oh, actually, no, that's not even what happened. What happened was that I got really far in, so I finished drawing the I did all the little debris, and I finished the planets, and then I started to try and do the background. So I thought to myself, okay, Sharpies are not supposed to be highlighted. They're not good for blending, but I can make it blend. I just have to try hard enough. Anything can blend if you try hard enough. And I kind of was making it work. If you just leave it wet and you just kind of like force it, it would work. It was kind of working, but I was finding that the darker ones would not blend very well with the lighter ones, and it was just looking really messy. So I just got really frustrated, and then the camera died again. I think I just had enough. I was just done. I was just like, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. So what I did was I put the camera to charge, so the battery to charge. I got the black Sharpie, and I just went over the work that I had done, all the work that I did. I just went over all of it in the black Sharpie. So not the actual drawing, but the background that I'd been trying to do. I just went over the whole thing in black Sharpie, and I just made the background black. I had this idea of the planet would be on this bed, like behind the planets, the main planet would be this beautiful glow of like pink and blue and purple, and then going out towards the edges would be black. So it would be a blending gradient of pink, blue, purple, and then black outer edges. But the Sharpie just wasn't working for me, so I was just like, yeah, okay, no, let's get this done. It's already 8 o'clock at night, and I just want to finish this so I can actually work on something else, so that I could feel like the day was productive. And so I just, while the battery was charging, I just went ahead and I just started to paint the ends, and then I just came back in towards the last piece, the last little edges, I believe. I put in the battery back in, and I just did the last corners. So there's like this sharp jump. And if anybody who looks at who's looking at the video will see, they can see a gradual progression of the piece being made, and then there's just this harsh cut where it's just like done. You could just tell where I got frustrated and I just gave up. So the piece is done. It's not what I visualized, and I will definitely try some Sharpie art again, because now I understand how the medium works a little bit better. And of course I still have the Sharpie, so I might as well do something with it. Something a little less ambitious, maybe. That wasn't even that big of a deal. It's just, when you have tools that are not the best, it's harder to make projects that are, good. I guess that's the word I will use, but I did enjoy doing it, and I felt satisfied when I was done, because I could see that my project was complete, and then I could tell that I didn't give up. So I could see that I finished it and I did not give up. So that was very satisfying to me. And because at some point I was really wondering if I was going to finish it all, because I started when the sun was barely up, and at the time, if you look at the video, you could see that the only light coming in the video is light from my lights. So in the beginning, you could see natural sunlight coming in, but then towards the end of the video, the lights that are coming in are from artificial light. So you could tell just how much time went by. So you know how the brain works, where you start to doubt if you're ever gonna be done and if you're gonna be there forever. And honestly, it was a journey. It was a journey, but I still had a lot of fun, and especially the fact that I was able to finish. I am glad that I was able to do it, and I'm looking forward to doing it again. So thank you so much for listening to me and listening to my little journey and my story. If you like this kind of content, watching a new artist struggle, please take some time to hit the like button. If you'd like to follow me while I continue with these kinds of stories, then please hit that subscribe button. There will be a new video again next Friday. I'm trying my best to be as consistent as possible. I'd like to thank you once again, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.